Start off with a saying that I absolutely love. And by the way, when I use this phone, I'm not tweeting. I have it linked up to the presentation. So, we'll talk about tweeting in a bit though. But the saying is, the average human's #1 fear in life is public speaking. Second to that is death. So that means at a funeral, the average human would rather be in the coffin than the guy giving the eulogy. So you kind of understand how I'm feeling right now. I'll talk about two things. I have two goals for this presentation. The first one is, well, there's chocolate there, so I hope you like that. But the second one is I'm hoping, I know I'm taking up your staff meeting time, so I'm hoping this can at least be as interesting as a typical staff meeting. So if I can, then this will, then I'll feel successful. Marketing, public relations, and journalism. I know I have a quote there from myself. It seems a little bit tacky, but when people ask me, Nick, why do you want to get into this field? It honestly is the creative side of business. That's one thing I talked about with my expert mentor, Greg Lynn, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But creativity has two different definitions. There's an artsy definition that, you know, colorful, interesting, but there's also another definition. Creativity can be finding your way out of an issue in a creative manner that is efficient. That's kind of the one I want to focus on about creativity. But I know what you're thinking. Nick, you have 3 topics on here: marketing, public relations, and journalism. You were only supposed to do 1 for the capstone. Well, in the grand scheme of things, my topic is communications. Communications is like the top of the umbrella, and underneath the umbrella are all sorts of aspects such as marketing, public relations, journalism, and you can go on to project management and to broadcasting. In all of these different aspects, it all plays a role. Let's go on to the next slide. My expert mentor, Greg Lynn, the account executive at Nancy Marshall Communications. Greg, I absolutely love the guy because I have never learned so much than what he told me. Public relations, which you'll see in the next slide, has so many aspects to it that you need to understand, and he really stressed to me that there are so many things you need to be able to do that you wouldn't think. We spent an hour one day video editing, and I was just sitting back in my chair like, oh my gosh, I'm just watching him fiddle with the sound this entire hour. But it's really important to be able to know how to edit video. So yeah, so Greg, basically what his job is he has a bunch of clients in Maine. He has the Maine Wine and Beer Association. He has Julia Kluge, which you guys know who that is, and some more. But the biggest thing that he needs to do is stay on top of current events. So I'm going to use a situation here. Say there was a school shooting in Boston. It'd be a terrible situation, but Greg, one of his clients, is a mental health association here in Maine. If there's a school shooting in Boston, he instantly has to call that mental health association and say, there was just this situation here in Boston. Can I get somebody that works for this association and set up an interview as soon as possible? Not 10 minutes later, 10 seconds as the news break, because 30 minutes down the road, there's 10 interviews already lined up at whatever channel you're trying to call. So you have to like get these things together. And he also told me that in news channels, they probably do 1/3 of the work that you think they do. They have to rely on public relations, people in that profession to set up the interviews and get everything ready. He also said that you kind of have to work on your toes, and not that I'm a procrastinator, but I definitely like to work under pressure because I love the fact that people are running around the room, trying to get everything done, and that's kind of what I do, is I run around the room all the time. I read this article, and this article says, I don't know the time, 10 signs you should work in PR. I qualify for about 9 of them. Number 1, you start every morning with a cup of coffee. I think I'm addicted to coffee, so that, it was sold right from the beginning. You're constantly up to date on current events and trends. Social media will keep you on 24/7, up to date in current events. Always on the go, so I'm always running around, always trying to get things done. I didn't learn how to drive till last year, but at least I was walking around. You have a passion for writing. It's going to be part of my field work, which I'll talk about in just a second, but I'm a sports journalist for several different websites. We'll get more into that later. You're an avid list maker. That's not completely true, but I'll work on that. You're connected to social media practically 24/7. Well, you guys are my teachers. You know that Twitter is on my phone all the time, so I don't really have to explain that too much. You value your relationships with others. 8, you consider yourself a very trustworthy person. 9, you're a team player. And 10, you're not afraid to push the envelope. So those are all personal reasons. And I believe I qualify for at least 9 of 10. Might not be necessarily the most organized person, but I'm working on that. Changing my career. Now, when I heard about that I had to do a capstone, everybody's response is, ugh. But I'm so happy I did, because originally I wanted to get into advertising. But after spending time with my expert mentor, Greg Lynn, who has a career in public relations, I realized that's exactly what I want to do for a career. I love the whole aspect of it. It's kind of behind the scenes, and I think I'd be perfect for it. And after reading that article in the coffee part, I was sold. This is a little picture I found about public relations. It really puts it into perspective that you need to understand. There's so many aspects that go into it: news, society, feedback, media, communication, audience, social organization, and so on, advertising. It just goes to explain what I was saying just earlier. There are so many things that you need to be able to do to have a career in public relations. So marketing is everywhere. You may not realize it, but whether it's on a mobile device, that is supposed to be a TV in the top right corner, or on a street corner, marketing is absolutely everywhere, and we all are objects of marketing as well. I love this quote right here. Your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card. How you leave others feeling after having experience with them becomes your trademark. So if I were to ask you to raise your hand before I said that, you probably would be like, no, I'm not a marketer, I don't do that. But every single day, the way you interact with each other is marketing. Talk about that specifically when we talk about demographics. Demographics are specific data that you take down for your target audience. So the same way a marketing researcher collects data such as age, location, interest, race, orientation, everything plays a role. The same way a marketing researcher does that, do we find people who we want to interact with? That's demographics, and demographics plays a role in absolutely everything. Demographics in the grand scheme of things also, if you're watching TV, you're not going to see a Teletubbies ad on SportsCenter or ESPN. You're going to see alcohol ads or something like that, maybe Dick's Sporting Goods. So it's all relevance. You've got to find your target audience and the data that represents them to make sure that you're efficient and it's relevant. Talk about my field work. I did a lot more than 15 hours for my field work, and that's one of the things that you have to realize with marketing is that they can all be very time consuming, but it's all at random times. Did a promotion for Connected Credit Union at CATC. Did some social media marketing, sports journalism, and radio broadcasting. The thing about that is Greg Lynn, my expert mentor, originally he didn't go to school for public relations. He went to school for broadcasting. He realized that the communication skills that he learned in broadcasting made him that much more better in the career of public relations. He had a back injury, so he couldn't continue to ride the bus to the Portland Pirates games because that was his original career. But anyway, so the communication school, the project management skills, and the interaction with people skills that he learned in broadcasting helped him along the way in public relations. Promotion at Connected Credit Union. Whenever you face a promotion, you have a question. The question, it's basically the objective. Our objective was, how do we drag high school students to a credit union? From a student perspective, before I had a credit union, when I opened up an account, which was last year, I didn't know the difference between a credit union and a bank, and I didn't even care. So that's what we faced, is students that probably didn't care. So how do you drag students down to a credit union? I sat down with the account manager there and I said, all right, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we create a Connected Credit Union wallet? In that wallet, we'll put a flyer, like a flyer or something of that matter, a coupon that says, please return to Connected Credit Union for a prize and free money in an account. You drop it in a populated area at a timely manner, so maybe during lunch, when they're getting out of lunch or when they're going to it. They pick it up, they see that inside, and then automatically they're like, okay, I'm getting free money and I'm getting a prize. why not? So they walk down there. When they get there, you give them information on why opening up an account is a good idea. In addition to that, Connected Credit Union will put $5 into your account if you refer somebody and they make an account. So that's one of the best marketing and campaign techniques right there. One guy opens up an account, refers a friend. He has an account, now this guy's $5, but he doesn't because he hasn't referred a friend yet. He refers a friend, $5. It's just a chain effect and it's never ending. It's one of the best techniques right there, is a never-ending chain effect for marketing. Next thing is social media marketing. Can't see the quote up in the top left right there, but it pretty much said the goal for social media marketing is creating a volunteer marketing army. Basically on social media, you put your content out there, people read it, and if they like it, they share it to their people, and then their people will share it. So it's like creating an army of your content. I've done a lot of social media marketing, and you may think this is the official Boston Bruins Twitter account with 25,000 followers, but it's not. It's a Twitter account that I run, especially during Bruins games and stuff like that, so my tweets are completely relevant to the Boston Bruins and everything that's happening there. My experience with doing this has allowed me to interact with Dirty Water Tees, a Boston-based t-shirt company that sells Boston Bruins t-shirts. They sell Red Sox t-shirts, New England Patriots t-shirts, and Boston Celtics t-shirts. I'll show you some of them right here. Basically, they originally sent me